When most people think about movie musicals, it's often like those glamorous golden age films, right? Black and white, maybe some bright Technicolor.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, then maybe they think it just sort of fizzled out, like it had its day and became, a bit of a museum piece.
Right, that's a really common perception. But it's actually a fundamental misunderstanding, I think.
How so?
Because the movie musical isn't some relic. It's one of the most resilient, most adaptive forms in cinema history. It's always changing.
Okay, I like that. Resilient and adapting.
Exactly. It's got this fascinating, like, recurring cycle. It defines itself, then it kind of tears itself down, deconstructs things, and then boom, it comes back. Often in a really spectacular way.
And you're saying it uses that very thing that makes it seem unreal, the singing, the dancing, to talk about reality.
Precisely. That break into song that's not just fluff, it becomes this unique lens, a way to look at our world, our feelings, even the culture itself. It absorbs and reflects everything.
That's a great way to put it. So for this deep dive, how are we going to trace that journey, this evolution?
Well, our mission today is to map that out. We're going to look at 4 really crucial films, landmarks, if you will.
Yeah.
And each one marks a different stage in how the musical talks to itself and, importantly, how it talks to you, the audience.
And there's a tech angle here too, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can't separate the musical's evolution from technology. Synchronized sound, obviously, Technicolor, later TV, music videos, the internet.
It has to keep up.
It has to. It survives by reinventing itself constantly, often hand in hand with whatever new media is emerging.
So if it's this story of adaptation, where's our starting point? Where does this evolutionary tale kick off?
Let's go way back. Our first waypoint is 1939, The Wizard of Oz.
An absolute classic.
Yeah.
The definition of fantasy, maybe?
It really is the apotheosis of fantasy for its time. Think about the context. Late Great Depression. MGM, which was the Dream Factory, poured resources into this.
They were trying to compete with animation, weren't they? Like
Yeah.
Snow White.
Exactly. They saw the success Disney was having and thought, let's do that, but live action and bigger. It was designed as pure escapism, a direct answer, really, to the hard times people were facing, offering this world of just unbelievable color and optimism.
And that color, it wasn't just decorative. Technicolor was key.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also a real challenge back then.
Oh, a massive challenge. 3-strip Technicolor was incredibly complex. You had these enormous cameras, like 300 pounds each,
Wow.
recording on 3 separate film strips at the same time. Red, green, blue filters. And the lighting needed. It was intense.
How intense?
Like over 100 degrees on set, intense. The electricity bill alone was reportedly $250,000 in 1939 money.
That's staggering.
And it had real effects. Dorothy's slippers were silver in the book, right? They changed them to ruby red specifically for Technicolor pop.
Makes sense.
And there were even reports of eye problems for the cast because the lights were just so incredibly bright.
But the payoff, I mean, that moment Dorothy opens the door.
It's cinematic history, isn't it? Stepping from that drab sepia Kansas into blindingly colorful Oz.
It's more than just black and white to color, though.
Oh, much more. It's reality to dream, hardship to spectacle. It's the film basically shouting, "You are now entering the musical." It's the central promise.
And the songs, they weren't just dropped in, were they? Arlen and Harburg's score.
No, not at all. This is a fantastic early example of what we call an integrated musical. The songs are absolutely woven into the story. They tell us who the characters are, what they want, they move the plot.
Like Over the Rainbow. That's the classic I Want song, isn't it?
The quintessential example. It tells you everything about Dorothy's longing to escape, to find something more. It sets the whole journey in motion, and that melody keeps coming back, right, as a theme for home.
Right, a leitmotif. And the other songs do similar work.
Absolutely. If I only had a brain, heart, nerve. They literally spell out the characters' quests. They externalize those inner desires, which helps us connect with them immediately.
Makes them relatable, even though they're a scarecrow, a tin man.
Exactly. And even things like Follow the Yellow Brick Road, they're not just filler, they're narrative glue, keeping the journey moving. Plus, you have the non-diegetic score, the background music, guiding your emotions the whole time.
It's fascinating, though.
Yeah.
The paradox.
Yeah.
You have this incredibly artificial world talking lions, witches, flying monkeys, people bursting into song.
Pure artifice.
And yet the conclusion everyone reaches is so simple, so emotionally real. There's no place like home. The scarecrow had a brain all along, etc.
That's the magic trick. The extreme unreality of Oz is precisely the crucible needed for Dorothy and her friends and us to get to that authentic feeling.
So Oz established that principle. Use unreality to find truth.
You got it. That became a defining move for the genre. Embrace the artifice to get to the heart of things.
Okay, so from that foundational fantasy, let's jump ahead. 1952. Singin' in the Rain. This feels different. If Oz promised the dream.
Then Singin' in the Rain is the dream factory looking at itself in the mirror. It's the self-aware fulfillment.
Made by MGM's Freed unit, right? The peak musical team.
Absolutely, the legendary Arthur Freed unit. And it's often called the ultimate integrated musical. Song, dance, story, they're just seamless. One flows into the other perfectly. It feels like the characters have to sing or dance because words aren't enough.
And it's clever because the subject is musicals.
Yeah.
Or at least the birth of talkies.
Exactly. It's brilliantly meta. It's looking right at that chaotic, slightly absurd moment Hollywood transition from silent films.
With all the technical glitches like microphones hidden in bushes.
It's hilarious stuff, right? And Lena Lamont's voice. That was apparently based on real stories of silent stars whose voices just didn't work for sound. So it's a romantic comedy, sure, but it's also this sharp commentary on the industry itself.
And Gene Kelly, his approach to dance on film was revolutionary. Sin dance, you called it.
Yes, sin dance. Kelly, along with co-director Stanley Donen, didn't want dance numbers to feel like filmed stage plays, which was common.
Static shots, basically.
Right. They wanted the camera to dance, too. Complex tracking shots, cranes moving, dynamic editing, all to capture the energy, the emotions cinematically.
The title number, Singin' in the Rain, is the prime example, isn't it?
It's perfect. It's not a performance for anyone in the film. It's just pure, unadulterated joy exploding out of Don Lockwood. Kelly splashing through those puddles, it feels completely spontaneous, even though it was technically incredibly complex to shoot with all that fake rain.
You just feel his euphoria. Are there other moments like that?
Oh, yeah. Think of Donald O'Connor's Make 'em Laugh. Pure physical comedy and athleticism. Or the tongue-twisting Moses supposes. Brilliant stuff.
What about the big Broadway melody ballet? That's quite long. Does it still feel integrated?
It does, cleverly. It could feel like it stops the plot, this huge 13-minute fantasy sequence. But the setup is that it's Don pitching this idea to save his failing movie, The Dueling Cavalier, by turning it into a musical.
Ah, so it serves the plot even as a spectacle.
Exactly. It grounds the fantasy within the film's reality.
You know, something interesting. It feels so original, but technically it's a jukebox musical, using old songs.
That's right. Which is amazing when you think about it. Almost all those famous songs, Good Morning, Make 'em Laugh. The title song, they were pre-existing hits from the 20s and 30s, mostly from Arthur Freed's own songwriting catalog.
So the writers, Comet and Green, built the story around the songs.
They did. Which makes the seamless integration even more impressive. It really is a monument to the studio system at its absolute creative peak.
But you also called it a eulogy. How can it be both a peak and an ending?
Well, think about when it was made. 1952. Television was starting to take audiences away from cinemas. The old studio system, with its massive contracts and resources, was beginning to break apart.
Ah, the writing was on the wall.
Kind of. And by achieving this level of perfection, by looking back so fondly at its own history, Singin' in the Rain almost accidentally becomes this farewell to that golden age. Interestingly, it wasn't a massive hit initially. Moderate success. Its reputation as arguably the greatest musical ever grew over time, looking back after that era had definitively passed. So it's a masterpiece, yes, but also feels a bit like the perfect exhibit in a museum of a bygone era.
Okay, fasten your seatbelts then, because
Yeah.
we're leaping forward to 1980. And the Blues Brothers.
What a jump.
Complete tonal shift, right?
Yeah.
This isn't polishing the golden age, it feels like smashing it with a guitar.
Uh-huh. That's a good way to put it. It's a seismic shift. Forget seamless integration. Forget earnest emotion.
Hmm.
This is something else entirely.
You came from Saturday Night Live, right? Different DNA entirely.
Totally. Product of a cooler, more cynical, post-Watergate, post-studio system sensibility. It just mashes together deadpan comedy, insane action sequences, and this incredibly deep, sincere love for R&B music. It's a hybrid monster, in a way.
How would you even define its genre? It's a musical, but also...
It's a musical. It's a comedy. It's definitely an action film. I think it held the record for most cars destroyed in a movie for a while. Oh, yeah. And parts of it feel almost like a gritty documentary of Chicago at that time. The plot itself, the mission from God to save the orphanage, it's deliberately thin.
Just an excuse, basically.
Pretty much a clothesline, as they say, to hang these amazing musical performances and completely over-the-top chase scenes on.
It messes with storytelling conventions, too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, there's no single villain.
Right. They're chased by everyone. Cops, a country band, Illinois Nazis. It's absurd. And Jake and Elwood, they're almost like one character in two bodies. There's no real psychological depth explored. The conflict is the chase. The conflict is putting on the show.
So another jukebox musical, but the jukebox is completely different. No Broadway tunes here.
Absolutely not. It's a canon of blues, soul, R&B classics. And here's the big break from Singin' in the Rain or Oz. The music is almost entirely diegetic.
Meaning it exists within the world of the story.
Exactly. Characters are consciously performing. James Brown is preaching in church. Ray Charles is selling instruments. Aretha Franklin is telling off her man in the diner.
Think.
Yeah.
That one does affect the plot directly.
That's the main exception, yeah. But mostly, the plot literally stops for the music. The point isn't the characters spontaneously expressing emotion through song, like in the old musicals. The point is the performance itself, honoring these legendary artists like John Lee Hooker playing on the street.
Which brings up that complex cultural point. You have two white comedians, Belushi and Aykroyd, fronting this incredible band of black music legends.
Yeah, it's a conversation that's still relevant. Their intention was absolutely clear. It was love. They adored this music and wanted to use their SNL fame to boost these artists, many of whom weren't getting mainstream radio play then.
And it worked, didn't it? It introduced that music to a huge new audience.
Undeniably, the soundtrack was massive. But there's also the critique, right? Does it, even with good intentions, still fit into a pattern of white performers popularizing and profiting from black art forms? Does the slick Hollywood production, maybe, sanitize the rawness of the blues?
It's a tricky balance, tribute versus appropriation.
It is, and it's debated. But what's clear is how the film functions. The musical has shifted from being primarily about narrative to being, in a way, curatorial. It's telling the story of the music. The plot is just the delivery mechanism.
The plot serves the playlist.
Perfectly put. It's a very postmodern idea, really. Recontextualizing, preserving, celebrating the past becomes the main artistic goal.
Okay, one more leap. To 2013. A different kind of phenomenon. Frozen.
Back to animation, but wow, what an impact.
Right. It felt like it came out of nowhere after a bit of a quiet period for Disney animation and just took over the world.
It really did. And interestingly, it went back to that Broadway-style formula that worked so well in the Disney Renaissance, think Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. They even brought in Broadway talent Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez to write the songs.
So, structurally, it felt familiar. Maybe even classic Disney.
The structure, yes. Classic framework. But the content. That's where it felt revolutionary.
Oh, so what did it revolutionize?
It systematically took apart the classic Disney princess tropes, the very ones Disney itself built.
Like love at first sight.
Exactly. Prince Han seems perfect, the classic Prince Charming, and then bam, he's the manipulative villain. It directly attacks that insta-love cliche.
But the biggest thing was an act of true love, wasn't it? That was always the kiss.
Always the kiss. For decades. Frozen sets you up for it. You think Kristoff is going to save Anna with true love's kiss?
And then, nope.
Nope. The act of true love that thaws Anna's frozen heart is her own sacrifice to save her sister Elsa.
Putting sisterhood, a female relationship, right at the core.
Absolutely central. Emotionally, narratively, everything. It was a profound shift. Suddenly you have these two independent young women whose main journey isn't about finding a husband. It's about self-discovery, overcoming fear, fixing their own family bond.
And the huge song, Let It Go. How does that fit in? Is it an I Want song like Over the Rainbow?
It's kind of the anti-I Want song, in a way. Or maybe an evolution of it.
How do you mean?
Well, Over the Rainbow is about wanting to go somewhere else, find something external. Let It Go is all internal. Elsa isn't wishing for something. She's claiming her power. Right there, right then, casting off expectations, fear.
Building your own space, literally.
Literally building her ice palace. It's a declaration of independence, of self-creation. It's not asking for rescue. It's about self-liberation.
And that resonated hugely.
Massively, obviously as a female empowerment anthem, but its themes of revealing a hidden part of oneself, casting off secrets, It became a major LGBTQ plus anthem too, a real cultural touchstone.
So Frozen showed the musical could still be completely relevant, dominant even.
Absolutely. It did it by blending that old school sincerity and spectacle, the big songs, the animation, with a really modern, self-aware, progressive message. It adapted the old myths for contemporary conversations.
So if we look at the whole journey, Oz to Frozen, there's a real shift in the type of quest.
Definitely. Think about it. Wizard of Oz is an external journey. Go to a magical land, meet external helpers, get things from an external wizard, all to find something you think you lack. Over the Rainbow is about escaping outward.
Okay.
Frozen is almost entirely internal. The journey isn't really to the mountains, it's into Elsa's psyche, into their shared past, dealing with fear and trauma to accept who they are. Let It Go is about creating your own space from your own power.
And the resolutions reflect that too.
Perfectly. Oz's ending is realizing the qualities were inside all along, but only after the big external trip. Frozen's ending is the explicit triumph of an internal quality sisterly love over the false promise of the external solution, the prince's kiss.
So the quest has moved from finding external validation to finding internal acceptance.
You've nailed it. The magic isn't somewhere else you have to travel to. The magic is the power you find within yourself. That's a huge evolution in the genre's core story.
It really is.
Yeah.
So looking back across these four films, Oz, Singin' in the Rain, Blues Brothers, Frozen, it's clear the story of the movie musical isn't one of decline at all.
Not in the slightest. It's a story of incredible reinvention. Foundational spectacle, then self-aware perfection, then anarchic demolition, then this kind of postmodern progressive synthesis.
It just keeps adapting. It's incredibly elastic.
That's its core strength. It survives because it's always talking about itself, about its own performance, its own history, its own tricks, all while engaging with the culture around it.
And that break into song, the thing that seems most artificial.
That's its superpower. It's this unique moment where reality can just pause, where rules get suspended, questioned, maybe even rewritten through music and movement.
From a sepia farmhouse dreaming of rainbows to an ice palace built from self-acceptance, the musical keeps finding new ways to sing its story.
And as long as we have feelings, joys or pains that feel too big for just plain words, I don't think it's ever going to fall silent.
Which leaves us with a thought for you, listening. What's next? In our world right now, with all its complexities, what specific emotions, what internal journeys do you think the movie musical is uniquely positioned to explore? Where does the music take us from here?